open to the local community following from the aftermath of Tropical Cyclone Debbie. This has been a great journey, and I do want to give credit where credit's due. The Mayor worked very closely with the state government and the federal government to deliver this. The state government, our government, was able to put in $13 million towards this, and I can remember coming here after Tropical Cyclone Debbie and seeing the devastation, the impact on families' homes. Roofs were ripped off, children were traumatised, and what we've progressively been able to do is build back better for the community. And I think, it's not lost on what's happening in the southeast now with the floods, where we're looking at how we can build things back better. And today is a great day for this local community with the unveiling of the cenotaph, but also this building, and of course we've done the council chambers and also money towards Shute Harbour. So Tropical Cyclone Debbie, even though it was 2017, it actually really packed a punch, and it went all the way from this region all the way down to southeast and into northern New South Wales, and I think it ended up over in New Zealand. And just recently we've had those floods that impacted southeast of our state and of course down into northern New South Wales. And we also think about the people who are going through that hardship at the moment. Queensland has had its share of natural disasters, and we always want to build back better, and that's the commitment that our government has for the people who live across this state. Barnaby?
Well, thank you very much, Anna and Andrew. It's obviously, this is great for Proserpine. Proserpine itself is, I think it's from Persephone, which is the Greek goddess for fertility. And when they came to the area, they said it was such a fertile area. And so things regrow after the harshness of a winter, and things regrow after the harshness of a cyclone, and Debbie was certainly that. And what this shows is the resilience, but things can't grow on their own. It needs people, it needs a community. And the community of Proserpine demanded that their town grow back, that their area becomes stronger, that their area actually becomes better than it was before. This facility is better than what they had before. And this is a great thing to take that next step in excess of a $19 million investment. This is also incredibly important in what we need to do, not just for Proserpine, not just for North Queensland, not just for Queensland itself, but for Australia as part of a program. We must become as strong as possible, as quickly as possible. This is of vital importance. Everything we do, we must become the best at. Everything that all our endeavours, we must push ourselves to take our nation forward as quickly as possible, to build that strength. That strength in uncertain times is our greatest security. And this is an example. It's not just, well, you've got to have a strong army. No, you've got to have strong everything. You've got to be good at everything. And this says that this community is going to be stronger, it's going to be better, it's back, it's rebuilt, and it's just sitting there waiting for the next lot of debutantes.
Any quick questions?
Yes.
For who?
Me first? Okay.
The South East Queensland City deal that
Yes.
you've got, this livability fund, can you tell me a little bit about that and then where that money will be spent?
I don't have the details in front of me at the moment, but the Livability Fund is looking at where we can look at identify more green spaces and really enhance areas of southeast Queensland. So usually it would be for land purchases to identify where those areas are, to beautify areas that have been impacted. So I think it's a really good part of SEQ's City deal.
And what is your government doing to support the reef at the moment?
Yeah, thank you. We put over $100 million into the reef, and of course we know that the World Heritage Area is coming out here during the course of this week and next week to have a look at the reef. And they'll be talking with a range of stakeholders, but it's a partnership between the federal government and the state government in terms of making sure that our reef is there for future generations. It has had bleaching episodes in the past, and now that we've got the international borders open, it's definitely needed. It's actually a draw card for international tourism as well as national tourism.
And does that coral bleaching event concern you?
Of course it does. I think it concerns the federal government as well. We are experiencing climate change, and we all know we've got to do everything we can. And what we're seeing is our government just recently put in a $3,000 rebate for purchase of electric vehicles under, I think it was from memory, $58,000. We've also got a 50% renewable energy target by 2030 as well, and we have a $2 billion renewable fund as well. And we just announced the start of a couple more wind farms as well. So, you know, everyone's got to play their part, and people play their part by even putting solar panels on their roof. But I think we'll see, especially over the next 10 years, we will see more and more people look at what are the alternative vehicles that they can be using. Okay?
Sorry, I've got a few, if that's okay.
Yep.
So this building is an example of what we can achieve when the feds and the state work together. When we look at flood funding, the Deputy Premier announced on the weekend, and we're looking at the Fed signing off on it. Has that happened?
Well, there's a budget coming up next week, so hopefully we'll be able to get that money. I think we put together a really good package, and I think it's going to be really important for the people who've been impacted on floods, because for people who are uninsured, we are looking at increasing that to up to $50,000. And, you know, sometimes people can't get insurance through no fault of their own. So I think that's a really good hallmark of this package. But also too, there's a range of other things there as well. So it's a significant package, but of course the state would put in half. And we've sent that letter off, and I'm quite sure the federal government will give it due consideration.
I know we're all sick of talking about COVID, but it hasn't gone away. With the PCR testing yesterday, the number of confirmed cases was 6,200 odd, but we did less than 5,700 actual tests. Do we need to continue to get tested? What's going on?
Yeah, well, I think people, I think the Health Minister might be talking a little bit more about this later on today, but we are seeing just a little spike at the moment in COVID cases. So can I just urge people, if you do have symptoms, you really should go and get a RAT test or a PCR test. Now, the RAT tests are available, so readily available, so people can access them now, which is great news. We are seeing increased levels at the moment in primary school children and high school students. What I would like to see is I'd like to see that number of parents getting their primary school students vaccinated increase. We are still lagging behind some of the other states, and I think it would give parents that extra comfort about having that vaccination for their children. I was looking at some statistics the other day, and I'm going to have a chat to Premier Mark McGowan about this. In children, it says over 90% of children 5 to 11 are vaccinated. So I want to talk to him about what other programs he did to really drive those vaccination rates. But of course, it's up to people to make up their own mind. But I want to thank people for getting vaccinated. In fact, in this region, well done, over 95% are vaccinated. So that is excellent news. And of course, we'd like to see the Gold Coast increase, because the Gold Coast at the moment is still below 90%. With the international borders opening and people coming to the Gold Coast and coming into Cairns, coming around this region as well, the high vaccination rates and that added booster is still so important. So can I just stress to people, if you haven't had your booster shot, go get your booster shot. If your children aren't vaccinated yet, please go and talk to a GP or a health professional. Okay?
When you're doing the testing, are you actually comparing which variant it is, and is the spike BA2?
I think the Chief Health Officer and the Health Minister will be able to answer that.
I have just one final one about RTIs. So are you satisfied with the time it takes for RTIs to be completed, and do you think that applications in Queensland are too expensive compared to other states?
Look, we're happy to look at that. The Attorney General is going to be reviewing the RTI laws in Queensland, so there'll be ample opportunity for people for consultation on that. Okay? I might hand over to the Deputy Prime Minister now.
You got any questions? Reasonably take time? No? Thanks.
Hang on, if we could, Deputy Prime Minister, we've got some from Canberra.
Almost got away, didn't I?
Got to be quick.
Yeah.
He's like,
Whatever they are, they won't be good. Okay. Barnaby, why are you a total nutter so-and-so?
So the UN has singled Australia out in a speech overnight for its inaction on climate change, warning turning back to fossil fuels due to the global energy shock caused by Russia's invasion of Ukraine would be madness. Rather than investing in new gas projects, should we be investing in electric vehicles and renewable energy to become energy independent?
Everybody should be doing as much as they can to make sure their energy is secure. It's just a statement of fact. It's the Poles trying to make sure that they secure the capacity to keep their people from freezing to death are buying our coal off us. That is a fact. And we have to, in these times that we are in, where even Boris Johnson says that the circumstances of Mr Putin going into a democratic country and basically murdering people has caused massive ructions in how the world works. 40% of Europe's energy comes out of Russia via the Ukraine. And these are questions that should be given to Mr Putin. In the meantime, we have to deal with the circumstances that are before us. And what is before us right now is that we must become as strong as possible, as quickly as possible, and we must assist other countries that are liberal-minded democracies who have the same desire of freedoms that we've been born with for them to also have, of what we can do to assist them. That's why I'm always saying that, yes, climate change is an issue, but right now we have an issue of how we keep people safe, how we keep them fed, how we assert our liberal democratic views, the right of the individual, that you can't be just summarily swept off the street and taken away, the right that you, the Fourth Estate, can say as you wish and ask me the questions which you wish without any threat against yourselves. These are things that are so vitally important. So I do say that right now we have to acknowledge the issues pertinent to climate change, but we must be a realist about the circumstances that are before us. And Australia must become as strong as possible, as quickly as possible.
And when you say as strong as possible, as quickly as possible, is that any kind of signalling to, say, China or other foreign